So we're talking about significance, and that's a big word. And there's a lot of words that are common, but also kind of hard to describe. And Jim Riefenberger is with us, and we were kicking this around the other day. Everybody is looking for happiness. How would you define that, Jim?
Maybe I'll set this up with a short story that came about. A young man that I meet about once a month and do a little mentoring with, he brought up this podcast in which these sports guys were discussing this professional tennis player who's now moved up in the ranks, like the top rank. And the new guy said, I will continue this game, but if it pulls my happiness, I'm done.
Hmm.
And these guys got into a conversation that said, well, the one guy said, well, what is that? He goes, when you're winning, you're always happy. I felt like if I could jump on there, I would
Yeah.
like to add to that. I don't think that that's true. I think the guy understood one thing. Happiness has more than one part. So I'll share my formula. Happiness equals confidence, progress, and connection. I can't speak for the tennis player, but connection in his world might be from not just connection to the game, but what about his physical therapist, his trainer, his coach, his family, where they're working as a team. And when that starts to feel like the connection is lost, he maybe doesn't want to do this anymore.
I would say, and this is pretty common, what the guy said, well, winning is happiness. Well, I mean, if that's the case, then one person wins and everybody else loses. And in other words, you can't be happy if you didn't win. And some people actually feel that way. The saying, you show me second place and I'll show you the first loser. And winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. And if we just look at these people as they age and move on, I honestly don't see many of them that are happy. Nor can I see that stacking up money makes people happy. I have watched many, many lives, and I see almost zero correlation between the amount of money a person has and the amount of, I would say, happiness. In fact, it almost seems to be opposite. The more they stack up, the more unhappy they seem to be. So your equation is interesting to me.
But let's
So,
break it down.
yeah,
Connection to the people that you really care about, right? Like I played
right.
on teams that won more, but didn't feel as connected to the guys, and therefore it was not as enjoyable, right?
And in a similar way, let's look at the workplace or in the home place. If you have your people you're connected to and you're in this together, that connection, whether home, work, or sports, is important. Okay. Now talk about the other ones.
Well, even add to the athletes that we see that have a lot of money, the ones that lose their family and they have just lost the people that mean the most to them and the connection's gone. Um, Confidence is kind of seems obvious, but even in the significance master class, you really get to a spot where you're writing things down, you're working through it, you're marking your X, and then there's a step in confidence you have to take, right? It's a progress of moving through that. But when you're confident and getting momentum, you just keep going, right?
It's a little bit like courage. It's the ability to face your fears and do it anyway. And what's interesting, if you look at the average life, how much of their life is, I would put into procrastination. They'll do it tomorrow. They'll work for the weekend. I just want to watch TV. And what that is to me, and I look in my own life, I just was a little bit afraid to do this particular project because I wasn't confident enough that I could do it to a standard. And so I just don't do it.
Absolutely.
And this could be in my personal experience, I've got a shop with all kinds of tools. All of them are dangerous, so they're a little bit intimidating. If I make one mistake, I got to throw a piece of wood away and it's over. So what I do surprisingly a lot in my shop is I just look at it, sucking up the courage to do it. And many people come into my shop and they look around and they say, "Well, it'd be nice to have a shop." But what is unsaid is that but I would be afraid to do anything because I don't have the confidence to do these things.
I grew up with a family that could fix a lot of things and I could not. Then I would dabble with YouTube and then watch it and then finally figure out that, oh, I fixed that.
And the thing is, once you change out the washer on the faucet, or once you figure out how to do it, you get a little confidence, and that it's more than saving bucks because you didn't have to call a handyman. It's that you gained a little bit of confidence. So we have happiness, confidence, connection, and what was the third?
Progress.
Hmm.
And progress goes with this confidence a little bit here is what about if you're moving into significance and you're maybe at nearing retirement 10 years out, but you're going, oh, AI, like AI, is going to steal my job. But well, you know what? Like sometimes my son will just use AI like the other day to help us. And he's like, oh, that wasn't that hard.
Ah,
Again, we don't know until we just take a step of progress. But progress is done by self is why most people go down. So the other day I was helping someone physical fitness wise, and they had a back problem and their whole workouts kind of went to the side. So right away they're just down. So I said, we're going to get back and we're going to do this, this, and this. Then I had to remind them the last 3 weeks you backed up and you worked on this, this, and this and got your back and your hip right. And now you're back and you're even in a better spot than you were 2 months ago. But through your eyes, you were set back and you were frustrated. You had no progress, but that's not true. So in significance masterclass, people make the mistake of being stuck and then not having someone to sort out the progress of the next step. Look into this, do this, talk to this person, then that's progress, right? And then all of a sudden, one day that idea just opens up and you're running.
so you need somebody to, if I'm hearing you right, help you establish what uh, wise progress is.
Yes.
This is why I know Jim well. He hates it when people say, "I want to lose 18 pounds." You go, oh boy," because now they're going to be chained to a scale. We like the number, but the number isn't necessarily the accurate way to measure real progress.
Yeah. Have you ever seen a guy who's says he's gonna lose 18 pounds, and then you assess where he's at, and he's like, man, that guy's got to be in pain every day, the way he walks and the way he moves, and then you fix this, and the guy goes, I feel great. Guess what? You just realized you got progress. You were staring at 18 pounds in the wrong goal, and now you feel good, and now you know what you can do with yourself, and now you're more confident. You're good to go. But you can't see you just can't see yourself in it. It's a mess.
And one of the things that we do, it's one of Satan's old tricks, is he gets you to look at the long game and say it's too long. I can't do it. So I said 18 pounds because 18 pounds is a doable amount that you could do in a, reasonable amount of time. But Satan will say, you got to lose 80 pounds, pal. You're never going to make it. You're never going to make it.
If
Story.
we took the formula, Jeff, and told someone listening, and they don't even have to be involved in significance, next week, get out a piece of paper or the next month and say, all right, I'm aiming for happiness. Where can I focus on the connection that matters this next week? Where can I gain some confidence? And how am I going to measure my progress differently? If it just took a little different angle at this, you're going to wake up and say, you know what, that was a good week.
Yeah. So we do this for people who it looks hard, it looks uphill, but it's not if you have the right help. Regardless of where you're at, we're on your side. We help you. We want to help you reach to a place we call significance. If you have any questions, comments, please reach out to us. Until that time, I'm Jeff Gould.
I'm Jim Riefenberger.
God bless.